The atmosphere inside the London studio was charged long before the red light on the camera blinked to life. Jamie Foxx had arrived early, sharp in a tailored charcoal suit, the kind of confidence that came naturally to him radiating from every movement. He was there to promote his latest film, a project he had poured his heart into, and despite the long press tour, he was still eager to share his passion with fans. Yet there was an unease simmering beneath the surface. The show's producers had been vague about the direction of the interview, and when Fox's publicist asked for a list of questions, the response was a cryptic, "Piers likes to keep it spontaneous." Anyone who knew Piers Morgan knew what that meant: controversy. The British host had built a career on provoking his guests, pushing them until they cracked on camera. Jamie, who prided himself on composure, wasn't worried. He had faced tougher rooms, rougher crowds, and critics far more ruthless. Still, as he sat in the bright white chair under the harsh studio lights, he couldn't shake the feeling that Piers had something planned. The opening was polite enough. Piers greeted him with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Jamie Foxx, Hollywood legend, Oscar winner, music icon," he began. "You've done it all, but tell me, has fame made you untouchable, or just misunderstood?" Jamie chuckled lightly, easing into his media rhythm. "Man, I'm just a kid from Texas who got lucky doing what he loves," he said. "Ain't nothing untouchable about that." Piers leaned forward, that familiar glint in his eye. "Come on, Jamie, you've had a few, let's call them public moments. People say you've got a temper. That you can be difficult on set. Is that true, or are those just excuses from people who can't handle your energy?" Jamie's smile stiffened. "We going there already?" he asked, half joking, half warning. The crew behind the cameras shifted slightly, sensing the tension creeping in. "I just think honesty makes for great television," Piers replied smoothly. "You've been in this business long enough to know that." Jamie leaned back, resting his hands on his knees. "Look, man, I'm here to talk about my new movie, about the story, the art. Not old rumors from tabloids. You want honesty? Fine, I've had my moments, but who hasn't? The difference is, mine get broadcast." "Fair enough," Piers said, his tone almost approving. "But let's not pretend controversy doesn't sell tickets. Some might say you enjoy the attention." Now Jamie's patience began to wear thin. "Enjoy it? Nah, man, there's nothing enjoyable about people twisting your story. You know what that's like, don't you?" The jab hit home, a direct reference to Piers's own history of public feuds. For a split second, the host's confident smirk faltered, but he quickly regained control. "Touché," he said, "but I don't walk off my own set when things get uncomfortable." Jamie's expression hardened. "That's because you're the one stirring the pot, brother." The studio fell silent. The air was heavy with anticipation, every person in the room aware that something raw and real was unfolding. The audience, watching live, could feel it too, that rare, electric moment when a celebrity interview stops being an act and turns into confrontation. Piers pushed further. "So, you're saying all the stories about you being volatile, they're just made up? The outbursts, the disagreements, the incidents on film sets?" Jamie's voice dropped low, steady, measured. "You want to talk about volatility, let's talk about pressure. You ever been the only black man on a movie set where everyone's waiting for you to mess up? You ever had your every move judged by people who don't even know your story? That's not volatility, that's survival." It was a powerful moment, one that could have turned into a deep conversation about race, fame, and double standards. But Piers, always more interested in provocation than understanding, missed it entirely. "So, you're blaming the industry?" he said, tilting his head. "Not yourself." Jamie exhaled sharply. "Nah, I'm saying I'm done explaining myself to people who don't listen." He removed his lapel mic with deliberate calm. The sound tech froze mid-step. "You know what, Piers? I came here to talk about art. You came here to get a headline. So here, take your moment." He stood, pushed his chair back, and turned to leave. Piers, momentarily stunned, called after him, "Jamie, are you really walking off? You can't handle a few hard questions." Jamie turned briefly, meeting his gaze. "It's not about hard questions. It's about respect. Try it sometime." Then he was gone, striding off the set while cameras rolled and Piers sat speechless. The control room erupted in chaos. Producers whispered frantically, trying to decide whether to cut the feed or keep it running. But the damage, or rather, the moment, was already captured. Within hours, Clips of Jamie Foxx walking off Piers Morgan's show flooded social media. Viewers were divided. Some praised Jamie's composure, others accused him of arrogance. But one thing was undeniable: that brief, explosive exchange had created one of the most unforgettable moments in talk show history. By sunrise the next morning, the entertainment world was on fire. Every major outlet, from CNN to TMZ, ran with the headline, "Jamie Foxx walks off Piers Morgan's show after explosive clash." Social media was a battlefield. Fans, journalists, and celebrities weighed in from every corner of the internet, replaying the clip in slow motion, dissecting every word, every pause, every shift in body language. Some viewers called Jamie Foxx a legend for standing up for himself. Others claimed he was thin-skinned and unprofessional. The truth, as always, was more complicated than a hashtag. Inside Piers Morgan's studio, the fallout was immediate. Producers scrambled to contain the chaos. "We didn't expect him to walk," one staff member admitted quietly. "We thought he'd spar a little, trade words, make it fiery." But Jamie, he wasn't playing that game. Piers, however, was anything but apologetic. By mid-morning, he had already posted a statement on social media. "If a superstar can't handle a few honest questions," he wrote, "perhaps they shouldn't be doing interviews. My job is to ask what the audience wants to know, not what the guest wants to hear." The post went viral within minutes, drawing tens of thousands of replies, most of them defending Jamie. Meanwhile, Foxx stayed completely silent. His PR team advised him to let the moment breathe, but fans noticed he had unfollowed the show's official page and wiped several upcoming promotional appearances from his calendar. For nearly a full day, he said nothing, a silence that spoke louder than any interview could. When Jamie finally broke it, he did so on his own terms. Late that night, he posted a 2-minute video to Instagram. Dressed casually in a hoodie and baseball cap, he sat in his home studio, his piano visible in the background. His tone was calm but firm. "Sometimes, people invite you into their space not to listen, but to trap you," he began. "They want you to lose your cool so they can say, 'See, that's who he really is. But I know who I am. I don't need to prove that to anybody.'" He paused, leaning forward slightly. "I love doing interviews when they're real conversations, about the work, about the craft, about life. But when it turns into baiting, when it's not about understanding but about provoking, that's when it stops being a dialogue and becomes a setup. And I don't do setups." The video ended with a simple message: respect is not negotiable. Within hours, it had been shared millions of times. Celebrities from across the industry came to his defense. Dwayne Johnson commented, "Handled like a king." Viola Davis reposted the clip with the caption, "Dignity first. Always." Even comedians who'd worked with Jamie years ago chimed in, recalling how kind and grounded he was behind the scenes. As the support for Foxx surged, Piers Morgan doubled down. The following evening, on his own show, he addressed the incident head-on. "Jamie Foxx is a brilliant actor," he said, his expression a mix of smugness and irritation. "But maybe he's spent too long being told what he wants to hear. I ask tough questions because the public deserves truth, not ego." The remark ignited another round of backlash. Critics accused Piers of hypocrisy, pointing out that he had walked off his own show years earlier when faced with criticism. Memes spread like wildfire, side-by-side screenshots of Piers storming out of a studio juxtaposed with Jamie walking off gracefully. The caption read, "One man lost his temper. The other kept his dignity." Behind closed doors, insiders revealed that Piers's producers had begged him to move on, but the host thrived on controversy. "He thinks any attention is good attention," one staffer confessed. But this one backfired. Jamie came out looking stronger. Indeed, within weeks, Jamie's career momentum skyrocketed. The film he was promoting saw a surge in pre-release buzz, and streaming services reportedly approached him to host a limited docuseries on fame, media, and the price of authenticity. What began as a tense walk-off had transformed into a cultural moment, a conversation about how far talk shows could go in chasing truth before crossing the line into exploitation. Meanwhile, Jamie kept his composure. He didn't gloat or fan the flames. When asked about the incident during a later appearance on a friendly podcast, he laughed it off with characteristic charm. "Man, Piers got what he wanted, headlines," he said. "But I got what I wanted too, peace. You can't buy that." The audience laughed and applauded, and Jamie leaned back with that effortless grin that had made him one of Hollywood's most magnetic figures. "I learned something, Though, he added, when someone tries to pull you into chaos, you don't fight it. You walk away from it. Gracefully. Because walking away doesn't mean you lost, it means you chose peace over noise. His words resonated far beyond the entertainment industry. Articles praised him for setting an example of professionalism and self-respect in a media culture obsessed with spectacle. Fans began quoting his line, "Respect is not negotiable," as a mantra across social media. By the time Piers Morgan moved on to his next controversy, the world had already chosen a side. Jamie Foxx wasn't just the man who walked off a talk show, he had become the man who redefined what it meant to do so. And in the end, as one critic wrote in Variety, Piers Morgan tried to create a viral moment at Jamie Foxx's expense. Instead, he created one that reminded everyone why Fox remains one of Hollywood's most authentic voices, unshakable, unbothered, and utterly in control of his story.